We want to get some breaking news to kick off your 6 o'clock hour in Greenwood Village, where crews are battling a fire at a restaurant in the shops at Greenwood Village. This is just off of Arapahoe Road, east of I-25.
9 News reporter Brianna Fernandez joins us live from the scene with an update, and we're hearing from the public information officer for the first time. Let's listen in.
Eric, kind of talk to me about when you guys arrived on scene. What exactly did you guys see, and what were you guys battling?
Just before 4 a.m., we had received a call of smoke coming from the roof of the Sushi Hibachi restaurant. Firefighters went inside that building. They did find fire conditions inside and up above their heads, and they worked to control that fire, which took about 20 to 30 minutes to bring it under control. About 40 minutes into the incident, crews noticed that there was smoke coming from the sportsbook business, which is 4 occupancies down the row of commercial building here. They began fire attack in that building and transmitted a second alarm, which brought a total of about 70 personnel to this incident. That fire was also quickly brought under control. Thankfully, no injuries occurred. Unfortunately, Greenwood Village Police Department is working to investigate a burglary at one of these occupancies, and the cause of the fires are under investigation right now.
These were separate fires. This was not one big fire from one end to the other, correct?
Yeah, what we believe right now is that these are 2 separate fires in the same long building, but this wasn't fire that spread from one place to the other.
Do you guys have any damages inside of these locations?
I haven't been inside personally, but yes, I have heard there is fire damage, smoke damage, and water damage in both businesses.
I see you guys had fire crews with tents and oxygen tanks. Kind of walk me through that scene as well.
So it's pretty cold out here, and firefighters were doing some pretty tough work inside. So we have set up what is called rehab or firefighter rehabilitation. So after those crews are inside working, they come out, they get their vital signs checked by paramedics, and they rehydrate, get back on the trucks, and then are available for other calls in our fire district.
How long do you think you're going to stay on scene for?
I would assume that some of these fire apparatus and definitely our investigators will be here for another few hours.
Perfect. Is there anything else that you would like to add? You want to let our viewers know right now?
Right now the main streets around this area are clear. There's no fire apparatus on Arapahoe Road or on Dayton Street or Clinton. They're all in this parking lot, so there shouldn't be any traffic impact, but you may notice some flashing lights as you drive by.
Eric, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, that was listening to Eric Hurst. He is the public information for the South Metro Fire Rescue. As you were hearing him say, sounds like there is a fire at 2 separate buildings now.
One call came in at 4, and they noticed about 40 minutes later that there was a fire 4 units down. Again, they don't believe the fire spread. We know that police are investigating a burglary in the area. We don't know which restaurant or shop that is in the area, but they are saying that there's 70 firefighters that were called to the scene, and they're going to be out there for a while. So just beware if you're driving by this area.
Yeah, of course, once we learn more information, we'll make sure we bring that to you on air and online. Right now, we want to give you a look outside. This is over downtown Denver, a very dark downtown Denver, as we're seeing some moisture coming down this morning. And the further south you go, that moisture is turning into some pretty big flakes of snow.
Yeah, Chris Bianchi is here with your forecast out in the backyard. Chris, there's some really heavy bands coming down in some places.
Yeah, so here in downtown Denver, Corey and Jordan, we're not seeing much in the way of any accumulation here in the 90s backyard. Pavement mostly just wet, same with the sidewalks. But you go just to the south and east of downtown Denver. If you're joining me from, we were just showing you Greenwood Village and that area, the DTC, Centennial, Parker, on north through Aurora, Glendale. That's where we're seeing some meaningful accumulation out on the roads this morning. So if you're stepping outside right now and heading to work, just have an idea that we are going to be looking at some accumulation on some of those roadways. So let's take a look at those headlines. The good news is, at least in terms of that snowfall, this snow will be mostly before about, say, 9 a.m. or so. Next couple hours, we've got some of that snow lingering around. South and west sides of town, it may stay as late as noon or 1 o'clock or so before that winds on down as well. But HD Doppler radar pretty busy on this Friday morning, showing us some of that snowfall. Again, notice some of those darker kind of purples, those dark blues on the south and east sides of town. That's where we're seeing the heavy snowfall right now. This should wind down in the next couple of hours. I'll have details on what you can expect for the rest of the morning and the rest of the weekend coming up in my full forecast.
All right, Chris, thank you. We, of course, want to talk about the drive, snow, wet roads is what we're dealing with, like Chris was just talking about. So we're still seeing those flakes and flurries right around I-25 and Evans Avenue. The good news with this snowfall is that when it hits the ground, it's just making the roads wet. It's not sticking. That's because we've had warmer temperatures. One thing we are warning you of this morning that Chris has been talking about, elevated services, so bridges, overpasses, any elevated ramps, those could could be slick, even verging on icy, so please be careful as you head out. I-70 and 270 this hour, eastbound lanes building in volume. Definitely seeing those flakes fly here at C-470 and Santa Fe this hour. As you get ready to travel, 225 in Mississippi, same story. We're seeing that accumulation on the grassy areas. It hasn't been crazy as far as too much volume just yet. Any major delays? We do have one crash in Aurora. If you're going to be traveling on eastbound I-70 and E-470, that's going to be one spot that you want to watch out for. Aside from that, I'm seeing some color on the map, and we've got a new crash at southbound I-25 in Monument this hour, really from Castle Rock down toward Larkspur. Things are going to be a slow ride for you on I-25. So again, one of those mornings you want to give yourself plenty of extra travel time.
Erica, thank you. 8 months after heavy rains and flooding washed out the main road through Cherry Creek State Park, this morning, Colorado Parks and Wildlife celebrating its return. This is what it looked like back in May. 6 inches of rain fell over 3 days back then, causing the Cherry Creek Reservoir to rise 10 feet, the largest single event increase in water levels since the 60s. East Lakeview Road suffered the heaviest damage with washouts in 2 places. It took 8 months to complete repairs, which included work to try to prevent a future washout.
There was some improvements to the culverts, some different type of culverts, some different erosion control. So there were some upgrades. This is, a flood that might happen every 25 plus years. When these rains came, Cherry Creek Dam was built for flood purposes, and it really did its job. It didn't flood, downtown Denver. So during May and June, it did its job.
All that work cost around $607,000. CPW will cut the ribbon on the project at 9 o'clock this morning.
Imagine driving in your car and finding a 4-month-old baby sitting in a car seat in the middle of the road. Well, that is exactly what happened to one family in North Glen. Police say that someone stole a car with the baby inside, drove a few miles, and then left her alone in a neighborhood. Daisy Flores and her mom, Vanessa, were leaving their house to run an errand when they saw the baby in the middle of the road. They asked around to see if anyone knew who she was before calling 911.
Wrenching, like who could do that? Just leave the poor baby in the middle of the road. But I'm glad, me and my mom were there. We found her, kept her safe until the cops reunited her with her parents.
Thankfully, the baby was okay. North Glen police tracked down that stolen car after it passed a license plate scanner in Thornton. They arrested the driver, a teenager, in unincorporated Adams County.
Thank goodness they were there, right? Absolutely. Denver has a new plan it hopes will help stop car thefts and other crimes. The city plans to install new license plate readers at dozens of intersections across Denver to help police track down cars involved in crimes faster. They picked about 70 spots with more reports of gun violence, hit and runs, and car thefts. The state's Auto Theft Prevention Task Force thinks license plate readers are helping drive down theft numbers statewide. About 12,000 cars were stolen in Denver last year, down from 15,000 in 2022.
The Republican superminority in the Colorado House has a new leader, Rose Puglisi. The last minority leader, Mike Lynch, stepped down after his drunk driving and weapons arrest was made public. Puglisi now represents El Paso County, and she used to be an elected official on the Western Slope. Lynch originally said that he would not quit when his arrest went public. Facing anger, though, from his own party that he hid the arrest from them, he decided to leave his leadership post but is still running for Congress. Lynch's first debate in that race is in the books, and he's not the only candidate, who has been arrested.
Yeah, during last night's Republican CD4 debate, 6 of the 9 candidates announced their arrest to cheers from the crowd. Those arrests ranged from altercations with police and drunk driving. It got a bigger response from the audience than anything else.
Have you ever been arrested?
Do we get this?
This, of course, all stems from Lynch's arrest record that we just mentioned, which has recently gotten a lot of attention. And these candidates claim their arrest records aren't necessarily a big deal. Congress.
I will tell you, I've been arrested twice, and every time it was for fighting because somebody needed a little attitude adjustment.
We need people that understand people that are human and make mistakes.
My arrest was just a simple traffic violation that was unpaid.
Congresswoman Lauren Boebert's interaction with police is more than an unpaid traffic violation. There was also an altercation at a country music fest. The primary election is coming up in just over a month on March 5th.
In Washington this morning, a new agreement on border policies could be stalled for a while. Congress has been trying to come up with a deal for a while now, but it might have to wait until next year. Former President Donald Trump is urging Republicans to reject a bipartisan deal. Hardline House Republicans already say they don't want to compromise with Democrats. All these roadblocks could mean a dead end for negotiations. Polls show immigration is the top issue for GOP voters this year.
Today, a jury will hear closing arguments in the defamation trial against Donald Trump. He is accused of sexually assaulting E. Jean Carroll, then denying it happened and defaming her in the process. Trump testified yesterday, saying he stands by everything he has said. This is a civil trial, not a criminal one, so the jury will decide how much money and damages Trump might have to pay Carroll.
For the first time, a state in the U.S. has executed a person using nitrogen gas. Kenneth Smith was put to death last night. He was supposed to be executed in 2022 using a lethal injection, but administrators failed to find a vein line several times. So Smith chose nitrogen gas. It's a controversial method because it causes the person to suffocate. Critics say it could cause unnecessary suffering. Only 2 other states allow this kind of execution, Oklahoma and Mississippi, but neither have ever used it.
New video this morning shows some very scary moments. A huge wave crashed into a U.S. military base in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Check out this video. There were only a few minor injuries, but the water broke doors and windows. It almost reached the ceiling. A report from the Army says the damage will take months to repair. This was likely caused by a rogue wave, which is an unusual large wave that looks like smaller ones. The National Weather Service says they can be unpredictable and are made worse by rising sea levels.
All right, one thing about the weather, of course, this morning we are waking up some snow across the metro area. I've kind of highlighted for you where we're seeing the heaviest snow. And also within that circle, that's where you're probably going to be looking at some snow, at least some slushy accumulation on roadways. So 225 as well as east through E470, that's where you'll be looking at some of that heavier snow on this Friday morning, maybe 1 to 3 inches within that circle. Most of the rest of the metro area, light to maybe no accumulation for us, especially along and north of I-70. That's where we're not expecting a whole lot of that snow. By the way, Erica, all this comes to a close by mid-morning, so 9-10 a.m. Any snow that we've got right now should come to a close.
Okay, that's great news, Chris. But of course, it's coming down during our morning drive out here. Thankfully, volume's still pretty light across our area. We're looking taking a live look from CDOT, I-25 and Evans Avenue. This is one of the cameras where we can really see the snow coming down. It is just hitting the roads, though, and becoming wet. Of course, that can make things slick, so just give yourself some extra travel time this morning.
All right, Erica, thank you. Well, the Avs are back at Ball Arena tonight. They're playing the LA Kings. Puck drop 7 o'clock, and after tonight, the Avs will play 6 games in a row on the road. They won't be back home until February 18th.
Come say hi to me. I'll be there tonight with my family. We're so excited. The 2024 X Games kicks off in Aspen today. The 3-day event will feature some of the best skiers and boarders in the country going head to head. Many of them are from Colorado. The first event starts at 11:30 this morning.
I'm Courtney Yoon here with your Cool School Pick of the Month. We're at the Downtown Denver Expeditionary School, and these kids got something to say to you. 3, 2, 1. They're saying we are crew, not passengers. We'll have a lot more with our Downtown Denver Expeditionary School coming up next.
We are back at 6:14 now on your Friday morning. This is a live look over downtown Denver. It's very faint. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but we are seeing some moisture falling over the city this morning. And as you head farther south, that moisture turns into some pretty heavy bands of snow. Chris is back with your forecast here in just a couple of minutes. And it is now time for our Cool School of the Month. This one is helping prepare students for life after graduation in a pretty unique way.
9 News reporter Courtney Yoon is live from the Downtown Denver Expeditionary School. Courtney, they are excited this morning.
Yes, they really are. Good morning, Jordan and Corey. Why wouldn't you be excited for Cool Schools like I am every month? I'm here with the executive director of the school. His name is Brent. He's going to tell us about the adventure program that you guys have. Tell us about that. What is the adventure program?
Yeah, absolutely, Courtney. So here at DDS, we really try to engage kids not only within the walls of the school, but taking kids outside of the school and even outside the city of Denver. So a couple times a year, we take kids, even beginning as early as kindergarten, on overnight camping trips. Like academics, the camping grows in rigor over time. So by first first grade, kids are camping in tents. By third grade, they're doing multi-night trips. And by fifth grade, we actually take kids away for a whole week.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, and you guys have things like this, like a climbing wall.
Yep, again, a lot here at DDS is about deeply engaging kids. We've got a robust movement program. That's one of our specials. And so we get kids up on the climbing wall just about every day here.
That is awesome. Okay, we're going to talk to a third grader now. Her name is Chloe. Good morning, Chloe.
Good morning.
Tell us what you like about the adventure program. What's your favorite part?
What I like about the adventure program is that we get to go camping, and it's really fun. Because in third grade, at the end of the year, we get to go camping for like two days, and it's really fun when we go camping because we get to like explore and stuff. And I like the adventure program because we get to do research on a whole bunch of different things.
Research? What kind of research? What things have you learned?
We've learned about injustice and then immigration and stuff, and then we've also been doing nutrition, and we go on the computers and we find research.
That's great. Well, thanks for being here this morning, Chloe.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, and we've got Mac. You're a fifth grader. Good morning, Mac.
Good morning.
Tell us a little bit about what you like about the adventure program.
So far we went on the sand dunes earlier in the year, and on the sand dunes trip we hiked the sand dunes, and whenever somebody fell behind, someone would walk with them. So it was teamwork, all making it to the top of the sand dunes together.
Teamwork, that was really something you took away from that. It made you feel good to be part of that team, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, anything else you want to tell me about your trip?
It was when we were hiking up the mountains, we got to sled down, and it was super duper fun, but it was really hard to hike back up.
Oh, I'm sure, but you had that team behind you to help you out, right?
Yeah.
Thanks for being here this morning, Mac.
You're welcome.
All right, that's all we've got for now, but we've got a lot more coming up. Back to you, Corey and Jordan.
6:17 on a Friday morning, you have that many kids at school, and somehow there was a lot of energy in that building.
As a mom, I am so impressed that they were able to get those kids there that early and they have that much energy. They're so excited. What a fun school. Courtney, thank you.
Let's get check your forecast now with Chris.
I love that mustache. That mustache was awesome out there. In the meantime, it is snowing out there in a lot of spots on this Friday morning, especially south and east of downtown Denver. That's where we're getting some locally heavy snow right now, but it dries out pretty quickly this morning, and then we're going to be entering a very prolonged dry and warm spell for us here in eastern Colorado and really throughout the state as well. But that snow, heaviest for us in southern Colorado, more on that in just a second, but want to focus in here on the metro area where we are seeing some of that snow this morning. This is probably the heaviest of it right now along and south of I-70. That's where we're seeing some of that locally heavy snowfall. I've kind of circled for you where I think we're probably going to be looking at some slushy accumulation on the road. So this circled area, this is probably where you're looking at some slush on the roads. Rest of the metro area roads are mainly just wet or maybe just a little bit of snow. By the way, just keep in mind, bridges and overpasses will freeze over first. You get the cold air underneath the bridge and above it, so those will freeze over first. Temperatures right now, right around freezing. That's why, again, we're seeing a lot of those wet roadways right now above freezing on the west side of the metro area. Now, that snow that we got right now, this will dissipate as we head through the rest of the morning. The heaviest of the snow will be on the south side of town, so Douglas County, Parker, Castle Rock, Confer, Bailey, Roxborough. This is where I think we could end up with some of those highest totals from the system. Certainly Monument, Larkspur above 6,000 feet. Those will be the spots that end up with the highest totals. Winter weather advisories for us here on the north side of Colorado Springs. This would be the Palmer Divide, winter storm warning in red for Walsenburg, and for our friends in southern Colorado. That's where we're seeing some of that steady, heavy snow this morning. Additional accumulations, maybe a trace to 2 inches total for us here south of I-70 for us around Highlands Ranch to the DTC. Castle Rock, 2 to 6 inches possible for us. For us today here in Denver, 40 degrees for us, light snow before noon, and that, well, much warmer forecast ahead thanks to a ridge of high pressure that builds on in that'll allow things to get into the low 60s. How about that for next week? But until then, Erica, we got some of those slick roadways out there. How are things looking out on the roads this morning?
Yeah, it's definitely slick. I'm looking forward to that warm up. You're giving me some golfing weather, so I'm pretty excited, Chris. Right now, we want to get you started with our live drive. Photojournalist Joe Swanson out driving along I-25 near 225. He's headed southbound. You can see the snow with the headlights shining right on them. But as it hits our roads and interstates, it's just making them wet. You can see a little bit of accumulation on the sides of the roads here. It looks like volume is really light in this area, which which is really fantastic to see. Let's go ahead and take you to CDOT right now. We're, of course, seeing that snow in some of the cameras, and some we're really not. We're seeing it here at I-25 and Evans Avenue. We're definitely seeing some flakes and accumulation on the grassy areas at 225 and Mississippi. This is I-70 and Steel Street area where it's really not looking bad at all. We're not really seeing any flakes. A little bit of wetness out here. I am beginning to see delays. This is normal commuter volume at 270 and York Street. Of course, we know any sort of wetness and snow can make the road slick in general, so please give yourself extra travel time. Let's bring you over to the graphics now as you get ready to head out across the metro. We've got the radar turned on, so you're kind of seeing where you're likely going to see some flakes and wetness. But aside from that, we're seeing a lot of green on the graphics. North of the metro, pretty much clear of that snow. It's a different story than what we're seeing south and east of the metro right now. We are seeing a little bit of a slowdown on the northbound side of I-25. We're looking at just a hair under 20 minutes for that Tech Center to downtown ride, 16 minutes southbound. Those should be about 12, 13 minutes on a good day. We are seeing some change in color south of the metro, Castle Rock down to Monument. It's going to be a slower travel for you, slower commute. Northbound I-25, we are dealing with a little bit of a delay as well, 23-minute ride between Castle Rock and 225.
Erica, thank you. This weekend, we'll know which teams will make it to the Super Bowl. And for two cities, there's a lot more at stake than just football.
This weekend, we're going to find out which teams will play in the Super Bowl. For the NFC, the 49ers and Lions going to play each other Sunday at 4:30. But first, a lot at stake here in Colorado. We got a lot of investment in this game. The Ravens and the Chiefs play at 1 o'clock on Sunday in Baltimore. The Chiefs have been in the AFC Championship every year since 2019. Typically, I don't agree with Erica Lopez, but I think in this game, we are finally united, my friend.
Yes. Thank you. Listen, they're my second team. I lived in Baltimore area for 10 years.
That's right.
So, yeah, high school, college, all that. Trending this morning, it's crab cakes versus barbecue. Two popular restaurants in Baltimore and Kansas City. They've got a bet going on with this game. The loser has to send their signature food to the fire department in the other city.
Great.
High stakes here. Listen, we're obviously... Baltimore's going to be eating some barbecue. That's what we're saying.
Yes.
That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, but also when it comes to the food, I see no losers there because I'd be happy with either of those.
It is a win-win for sure.
I think Denver is united behind Baltimore.
I know.
It works out that I can actually root for them and no one's coming for me, you know?
With music to our producer's ear, she's from Baltimore as well.
Yes. No one's rooting for the Chiefs here in Colorado. I mean, let's be honest. No.
And if you are, you're probably hiding right now.
Yeah. This diehard Bronco fan over here definitely rooting for the Ravens. Let's leave it at that for this weekend. But weather-wise this morning, I know we were talking about some of that snow. Do quickly want to get into the ski report as well because we are talking about some fresh snow for us in some of the I-70 mountains, and especially our southern and western mountains on this Friday morning. But it's going to be a little bit of light snow this morning, but temperatures actually fairly mild up there in the high country for today. So if you're skiing up there today, definitely fairly mild. But do quickly want to get to some of that snow that we're seeing along the I-25 corridor. Here in the Denver area, it's the south and the east sides of town that have seen the most snow so far. That snow now shifting to the west side of town as well. But I think it's within that circle zone where we're seeing the highest impacts on this Friday morning. Rest of the metro area roads mostly just wet.
And I'm Matt Renew, live in a different looking mountain newsroom this morning, and that's because we're 6 months away from the start of the 2024 Summer Games in Paris. And some Colorado athletes have already earned their spot on the U.S. Olympic team. We'll show you how they're preparing and how they're training when we work that story out coming up on 9 News.
And the health risks that firefighters are facing are changing. So is the way they're working to keep firefighters living longer and healthier.
Plus, we're following breaking news right now out of Greenwood Village, where a couple restaurants caught on fire this morning. Brianna Fernandez is live at the scene. Is going to bring us the newest updates coming up at 6:30.